Good morning, Grit Nation, and welcome to another episode of Coffee with Coach. If you are watching this live, do me a favor, post something in the comments, let me know you're here. Although I will tell you, the last time I did a Coffee with Coach, I couldn't see the comments. I did not realize that there were all these comments, and I went back, posted the video, and then saw everybody's comments. So please, if you are watching this on our last live Coffee with Coach, do not think I was ignoring you. I was not. I just could not see the comments. Good morning, happy Monday, and welcome. Welcome. Today is February 23rd, and I am 100% pumped, excited. I hope that you are. I hope that you are working toward your success. I got up this morning, 4 a.m., and I attacked my day. Got up at 4 a.m., immediately started working on what is my playlist going to be this morning? What am I going to do this morning? How am I going to motivate myself? What am I going to do to set myself up for success? I set up my playlist, started that playing, got that going, and on top of that, did a very quick functional workout. And when I say quick, I mean it was like 20 repetitions of one set just to get my body going. What is a functional workout? You say it is something that actually mimics different body movements that you do throughout the day. For me today, it was squats. I'm going to be getting up and down a lot today. I'm going to be moving a lot. I got some walking. I've got some phone calls I've got to make. In fact, I've got a phone call in about an hour and little over an hour. Then I've got a couple other phone calls. I'm going to be working at my computer station for a while. So I knew that today I was going to be getting up and down. And so my functional aspect, just getting my body warmed up, getting everything ready, was starting off this morning doing a functional workout. Let me see. Let's see. I was going to post something in the comments, but I did post good morning, everyone. Let's get this thing started. So I labeled this Coffee with Coach. The things you invest in are what is important. Now, you don't know who I am. You're just catching me for the first time. You're a brand new member to Grit Nation here on Facebook, or you're catching this on the replay on our YouTube channel. I'm Coach Grit. I have been doing mental or mindset coaching as well as personal training, wellness, corporate wellness programs. I've been doing this for over a decade. My background is in a career before I started this, was in a career that, you had to stay physically fit in order to ensure that you stayed alive. I have a military, law enforcement, firefighting, EMT, first responder type background. Spent several years, a couple decades in that, and began to understand that I absolutely have a passion for people and leading them and partnering with them to beat yesterday's you with today's you, to help you understand that your response is your responsibility, that we don't do easy, and ensuring that you have a partner that is going to walk along side by side with you. If you're looking for that TikTok influencer, that Instagram influencer that is, mint with filters and, making it appear as if they've got all of their stuff together, I'm not that guy. If you're looking for that person who's going to almost make you feel guilty that you are not living your best life, not that guy. If you are looking for someone, a coach, a mentor, a partner who's going to come alongside of you and walk with you step by step to show you how to enhance your mental and physical well-being, as well as coach you towards success, being transparent in all the mistakes that I have done, and hopefully you can learn from those mistakes so you don't do them. Maybe identify places in your life that you are heading toward a cliff, but do it with, as if, this is why we call it Coffee with Coach, as if we're sitting down and having a cup of coffee. Then I am your guy. Today, what I want to talk about is what you invest in what is important to you. You're like, well, duh, coach. I never really learned anything about investments. I was not growing up, I didn't know a lot about finances. I entered into my early 20s, late 20s, not really knowing anything. As long as I had the money to pay my bills and had extra to play around with, that's all that I was excited about. I thought that investing was something that the rich people did. I thought that it required a lot of knowledge, and I'm not discrediting it. Does there are a lot of fine tuning things, but finally, later on in life, I began to throw just a couple bucks here and there at some investments. I didn't know what I was doing, right? I didn't know the importance of the company I was investing in. I was just throwing my money to see if it would grow. Made some money, lost some money, and then I started realizing and recognizing patterns and realizing and understanding that you might want to know who you're throwing your money at. Do you have a personal investment tied to that company? Do you see what that company is doing and does it meet your level of expectation, whether it be financial or moral, whatever it is, right? And you say, Coach, is this a class on investments? It is not, but I'm setting it up. I'm setting it up for you to understand the importance of investing in yourself. So you may say, well, Coach, okay, I can without you even explaining, can understand the importance of what you're talking about and how it relates to my personal mental wellness and well-being and my strength, my success. I am investing in me. But are you? Are you investing in the right aspects? Are you just throwing your money in money, and I say that in quotation marks, your time, your effort? Are you just throwing it to the wind and hoping it lands on something? In order to ensure that we are meeting our goals, first of all, we have to set those goals. If you're going to invest in something, if a company is asking you to invest in it, you should understand what their goals are, what they're going to do with your money, what their future projections are, how they're going to meet those future projections, and then you have to decide whether you are going to spend your money, your hard-earned cash, and you're going to invest in them. I think a lot of times when individuals come to me and they say, hey, Coach, I want to be coached by you. I want to invest in your program. I want you to invest your time. There are times where I tell people, we're not going to continue this journey forward. And I think that shocks them many a times because they're like, wait a minute, what? Did you just say, Coach, that you're not going to spend the time? Yes, I did. And you may say, well, Coach, that's rude. That's mean. Yes and no, because I want to explain why. It's firm. You see, my time is also valuable. I only have a certain amount of time on this planet, in this existence, in this realm of living and breathing. I only have a certain amount of time. And I have to split that time up amongst being an author, being a coach, being a father, being a husband. And so if I am going to spend time investing in you, I need to know your projected goals. I need to know how you plan to get there. If I am going to become an invested partner in your journey, and I'm going to hold a large amount of shares in your journey, then my expectation is that when we move forward together, that you are doing what is required to meet those expectations. Now, does not mean you're not going to stumble and fall. Doesn't mean that you're not going to need some encouragement. Doesn't mean you're not going to need that pump in the arm, so to speak. What it does mean is that you are going to have to invest in yourself, purpose and focus. I'm currently writing up putting in book form one of our workshops we have done over the last 10 years. We have done, I have lost count of the amount of workshops that Grit Nation has done. And our very first one is the basic training workshop. And I'm currently rebuilding that and almost done with the book form of that. And in it, I have made this statement over and over: purposeful, purposeful. See, like I stated, when I first started making investments, I wasn't purposeful at it. In fact, I didn't know about dividends. I didn't know about paybacks. I didn't know. All I knew is people invest and they put money into stocks. And so I only had a few bucks. I looked at the cheapest stock I could find. I threw some money in there. I wasn't purposeful at it at all. Now today, when I go to invest, I take a look at the company. I look at their projected forecast. I take a look at what they have done in the past. And I listen to their meetings that they have when it talks about, from their investor meetings. And I go, okay, is this where I want to put my money? Because I'm investing more now than I was when I first started. When I say what you invest in is going to be important to you, I, as a coach, as someone who does this continuously, can usually tell right off the bat if someone is going to be serious about their dreams, their health, mental and physical, their well-being. And it usually deals with, what are they investing in? Now, I'm not saying that that can't change, and that's the whole idea of coaching, right? That's all. The whole idea of bringing someone on, listening to a coffee with coach, doing something like this, work, listening to other programs, or doing whatever it is. You're going, okay, coach, I was not purposefully investing, but now I want to. But I will take a look and I'll ask questions like, okay, what have you done up till now? Because I'm doing that because what I want to do is take a snapshot of the habits they have been doing. That client, that individual has been doing. When I work with corporate companies, when I work with leaders, when I work with places that bring me on and say, hey, we want to bring something on. We want to bring you in and talk to our associates. I usually will ask, like, what is it that you have done before? What is the climate that you have currently in your workplace? What's the culture like? And then I'll ask people who work for them, because you can ask the boss and they will tell you, and then you get the truth by asking the individual who actually works for the boss or the leader. And so that gives me a snapshot of what they've been investing in. Have they had any purpose? It also allows me to understand what are some strengths. When you begin to grow in your life, it doesn't necessarily mean you need to throw everything out. What it means is, let's take a look. A lot of times when I ask individuals, are you investing in your future, in your dreams and goals? The answer is yes. They truly believe that they are. Now, when we begin to break it down, they are investing something into something. Did you hear me on that? They're investing something into something. But there's no real plan of growth. It is a hope. And hope is not a plan. Hope is not a plan. It may be an instigation to a plan. It may be the catalyst to a plan, but hope is not a plan. They're hoping that tomorrow is a better day. They're hoping they get the job that they want next week. They are hoping that the finances will come in. But the action that they're doing to invest in a plan to make that happen, your response is your responsibility, doesn't indicate any forward momentum or purposeful focus. How do we change that? What does that look like? So I posted this morning, if you're not following me on Substack, please follow me on Substack, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can follow me on TikTok at Grit Nation. I challenge you to follow all these different, you can find me Coach Grit Nation on Instagram, I challenge you to follow all these things to get a full spectrum of tools. But with that, I posted this morning when I got up, or after a couple hours after getting up, my routine. I do this not to pat myself on the back. I do this for a few reasons. One, to hold myself accountable, right? As a coach, if I'm going to tell you to do these things and this is how you invest, I better be doing that. You don't want to trust, you do not want to trust a investment advisor who would not follow their own advice, right? I mean, let's think about it. If an investor says, here's where I think you need to put your money, but they wouldn't put their money there, you need to think twice on why they're asking you to put your money there. So it's the same with me. If I'm going to coach you, if I'm going to be that coach that I commit to be for you, for a company, I have to do the same thing. So this morning I got up, and after a couple hours of being up, I posted my accountability. I talked about how I got up at 4 o'clock. I beat my alarm, right? I'll be honest, I didn't even set an alarm. I know that my body is now accustomed to getting up at 4 o'clock. But if I were to set an alarm, I probably would have set it for 4. Now, when I say I got up at 4, I was actually awake by 3:45. And that's why I beat my alarm. And I laid in bed and I started thinking about, okay, what is today going to be about? What am I going to achieve today? What am I going to conquer today? How am I going to be successful today? Whose life am I going to change today? What am I going to challenge the person or the people that I come in contact with? What am I going to challenge them with? Then I began to put a playlist together. If you have done any of our workshops, you know what that importance. I'm talking currently been working on that with the basic training workbook. The importance of setting up that playlist to get your mind moving in the correct direction in the morning. And then I got up, as I stated, I got up and did my functional workout, a very quick, just let's warm up the body. What is it I'm going to be doing today? If I'm going to be doing a lot of lifting, using my chest, my shoulders, my arms, I probably would have done some push-ups, maybe some burpees, maybe some mountain climbers. What functionally am I going to be doing today that I need to warm my body up and activate that investment? Then from there, I began to plan out my day, set up the successful routine, and then I posted my accountability to you all, to my accountability partner. And you said, Coach, you have an accountability partner? I absolutely do. If I'm going to tell you to have an accountability partner, I better have an accountability partner. And I literally told my accountability partner, hey, this is my plan for the day. I do it with my son. My son is in sales. He is my youngest son. Our youngest son is in sales, and every morning I ask him, what's your plan for the day? And he tells me, he goes, this is what I'm going to do, Dad. I'm going to do this, 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 and this. At the end of the day, I get a hold of him and I say, okay, what did you accomplish today? In fact, he even told me, he's like, Dad, he's like the other day, he's like, I told you this is what I'm going to do. And he's like, toward the end of the day, I couldn't get a hold of him. He was later than normal. And I'm like, what is going on? He's usually off by now. And he said, when I finally got a hold of him, I said, hey, you're kind of running late. And he's like, Dad, it's because you asked me this morning what it is that I was going to be doing. And I told you. And about 30 minutes before I was going to call it a day, I realized that I had fallen short of the goal I told you that I was going to do. He's like, I knew you were going to ask. So he said, I stayed late. But Dad, I can tell you that I accomplished what it was I was going to do. He invested time into his goal. Here's the thing, though. What I challenge you today is to take time out today and actually be honest with purpose and focus. Take a look at the things you are currently investing in. Now, I'm not talking financially. Now, it could be financially, but more importantly, what are you investing? You have a commodity that is the most important commodity that any of us humans have. And it's not a finite commodity. If you've been with Grit for a while, you've heard me say this. Or it is not an infinite, it is a finite. It is a limited amount, and that is time. The best investment, best commodity we have, the best currency we have is time. Time with ourselves, time toward our success, time toward our goals, time with our relationships. All of that requires time. So when I talk about what you invest in is what is important to you. You wonder why relationships break down? Because we are not taking that time out to invest it in the right places. We're investing the time that we should be investing in relationships. We're investing in other things that bring no reward back or return on investment, ROI. It brings no ROI back to us. It may be scrolling through social media, spending hours just laughing and looking through the social media stuff. I really, a lot of times people say, "Hey, coach, have you seen this on TikTok or have you seen this on Instagram?" And I'm like, "No, I haven't." And they're like, "What?" And it's because I'm very limited and I am very focused. A lot of times when I'm spending time on social media, it is for me to get stuff out for you. If you are spending time, if you're not a coach and you're not working in that aspect, your time on social media should be spent with purpose and a focus of one, yes, if you need some decompression, that is important, folks. Decompression is just as important as working and driving, but you should limit that. You should set a time. You should invest a certain amount of time, but a limited, or if you are going to invest more time, then it should be focused on. If you take a look at my social media pages, whether it be Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, it is so focused on fitness, motivation, mental health, wellness. And so I actually am, even though I'm using that social media platform, it is feeding back into me product and investment. I'm getting a return on that investment that will challenge me in the man that I am, the husband I am, the father I am, the coach I am. But all too often, that's not what we're doing. We're watching videos of some dancing girl. We're watching funny cat videos, babies being startled, uh, trends that have nothing to do with us and our success. We're wasting that time. We're throwing it into something that we do not know we're going to get an investment on. And we don't get an investment on. Then an individual comes to me and says, "Man, coach, I just don't have time to focus on my physical health like I should. I just don't have the time." In fact, many times in our workshops, that is something I hear all the time is, "Coach, I just didn't have the time to finish the homework. Hey, coach, I just didn't have the time to do the functional workout. Hey, coach, I didn't have the time." And then I say, "Okay, hit me up on this on direct message. Hit me up, DM me." And I'll go off to the side privately and we talk. I'll go, "Okay, walk me through your day." "Well, coach, I got up. I have to be at work at 9. I got up at 8. Why didn't you go up at 6? I stayed up late the night before, coach." "Oh, so you stayed up late and you were doing homework. You were doing something to invest in yourself." "Well, no, not really. I was binge watching this show on Netflix, and then I got caught up with social media. Before I knew it, it was midnight, and then I was so tired, and so I just set my alarm I did set my alarm for 7:30, coach, but I hit snooze." Okay, so you have time and it's limited, and you're choosing how you're going to invest it. So you're telling me right now what's important to you. What's important to you is Netflix, binge watching, social media, aimless scrolling, sleeping in extra time when your body probably didn't actually need that extra time. It might have because you stayed up late. And then now you're rushing in the morning to get ready for work. You don't have time to set up your playlist. You don't have time to do a functional workout. You don't have time to set your goals for the day and plan your day out. You're letting life happen. You're letting your investments be invested in things that don't matter. Man, coach, I just don't. My mental health coach is just, it's all over the place, dude. Like, man, one day I'm up, the next day I'm down. I just, man, coach, I just don't have time to. Okay, when was the last time that you listened to an audiobook that was advanced toward your dreams and your goals? When was the last time you did a class, when you did a study? Uh, Today, later on this afternoon, I will be taking probably, I don't know, it's usually roughly around 100 to 200 question quiz. I will be getting a new certification today. I have been investing, and then later on this evening, I will be sitting down with my son and I will be signing up for some more training in a whole different aspect of some stuff that I want to be doing in my personal or my professional life. And my son and I are going to be sitting down talking about it. I'm going to be signing up. It's going to probably be a week to 2 week long course that in the end I've got to pass and get a license for. At the end of it, I'm already setting up my automatic investment into my future. Why? Because it is important to me. It is important. When I go to bed at night, I review back and go, okay, got up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I did the playlist. I did my functional workout. I talked to my accountability partner. Because I told my accountability partner what it was I was going to do, I had to make sure I did that. I had to make sure I hit my timetables. If I needed to adjust, I adjusted. I don't go to bed at night and go, I don't know where my day went. Why? Because I spent time understanding that what I invest in is what's important to me. So you can tell me all day long that your mental health, your physical fitness, your goals, your success, your family, your relationships, whatever they are important. If they are, if that's really what is important to you, then I should be able to ask you, explain to me what you did today. And as you've gone through your day, as you've put fuel into your body, because that's what food is, whether it's good fuel or bad fuel, as you go through your day, I should be able to say, yep, that's the fuel you put in. That expanded your lifespan. That expanded your health, which in turn built you up, which in turn gave you a healthier body to be able to do the other things that you're trying to do and invest in. You spent time. I'm a bulldog. If you've been around for a while, you probably already understand that. When I grab a hold of something, I grab a hold of it and I'm all in. And sometimes where I have to be aware in my own self is that when I do that, then sometimes I invest so much in one area that another investment falls apart. One of the biggest things that got me doing this for my personal self, other than loving just to help people, is that I needed a more workplace balance or a work-life balance because I was not investing as much time with my family as I should. And I have several core principles. And that's a whole nother coffee with coach. But one of my number one core principles, family first. I can always find ways to make money. I can always find a job. I don't get more than just this lifetime or the lifetime of my family members. That's the only time I get to be able to spend with them. But in order to spend that time with them, so if that is my goal, that's my focus, that's my number one priority, in order to do that, I have to be physically fit. I have to be healthy. When I say physically fit, I'm not talking about going in and bench pressing 350 pounds. I'm not talking about squatting 400 pounds. I'm not saying going and doing, 200 crunches. What I'm saying is you are functionally fit to be able to accomplish that which you desire to meet your goals. So I have to be physically fit and healthy in order to be able to spend time with my family. I'm a father of 6 kids, all adults, in order to be able to do the thing, all young adults. So, being in my, being half a century old, if I am going to be able to keep up with them, I have to physically be fit. My father had 70 in his 70s, has stayed physically fit. He has been able to do things. He has stayed healthy. I also have to be mentally fit. I am no good for my family if I'm not invested in my mental health. I seek to challenge my kids. The example that I gave about speaking to my kid, to my son. What are you doing today? I'm challenging him as he begins to build his career and his future path. And it's ironic because he comes in and he says out quite a bit. He's like, Dad, when we have our conversations, he's like, Dad, he's like, I was doing this today and I could hear you in my head saying, but how does this progress forward? Or how does this help you? Or whatever. And he's like, I was like, ooh, he's like, I was challenged today with an action that I was going to do. And I stopped and I remembered something you had taught me, something you had trained me. if I had not spent time investing in my own mental health, and when I say mental health, I'm not talking about just depression and happiness. I'm talking about education. I'm talking about knowledge, filling your coffers, if you will, filling your bank with reinforcing information that gives you knowledge to enhance your walk in life, and then in turn invest in other people. But if you're not doing any of that, then you are investing in things that don't matter. But because you're investing in the things that don't matter, I will tell you, those things that don't matter actually matter because you are investing in them. You will invest in what is important. Now, if you say, Coach, no, my dreams are important, my relationships are important, my physical health is important, my mental wellness is important, then that's what you should be investing in. And if you're not, then I will call the BS. I'll throw a flag on the play. And I'll tell you, no, those aren't important because you're not investing in them. Your response is your responsibility today. Today, here's my challenge for you. I want you to be honest with yourself. I want you to spend time, set out a time, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Probably shouldn't take any longer than 30 minutes. Probably can get it done in 15. I want you to break your day down, yesterday, your weekend, last week, and I want you to look at where you invested your time and finances. That's the other thing I talk to people and they're like, hey, Coach, I can't really, I want you to coach me. And then I send them information on the different packages that I provide for my coaching. And they're like, oh, I can't do that, Coach. Okay. But then I asked them, I said, why? Well, financially. So let me ask you, financially, are you investing in what will be successful? Yeah, Coach, I am. Okay. So if you don't mind, let's walk through this. How much time did you eat out? How many times did you eat out last week? How many times did you DoorDash last week? How many times did you buy an expensive coffee last week? That's one of the things that my son came to me the other day. And he's like, Dad, he's like, I drank. And this, as a father, did shock me. I will tell you, my son informed me through this conversation that he had never drank coffee from a gas station. Now, I get my coffee from the house. Every once in a while, I'll get some from the gas station. But he's like, Dad, I drank gas station coffee the other day. I'm like, okay. He's like, Dad, it was just as good as some of these other places that I'm buying it from, and I'm paying twice or three times the amount of money. Ding. He realized where he could save money. And he could take that money and invest it somewhere else. What are you investing today? So I want you to do that. I want you to check out whatever it is your goal is that you want to accomplish this week or this month. And I want you to write out the excuses on why this has been impossible so far, because we're going to set you up for success to be able to accomplish it. And then I want you to begin to look at those excuses and ask yourself, where are the investments? Where can I change my investments? If you need help doing that, get a hold of me. If you need to be able to have someone that's going to hold you accountable, get a hold of me. We offer several different programs, and I'll tell you right now, what you invest in is what is important to you. Your response, it's your responsibility.
They say I won't, but I say I will. I can, I will. Now watch me still. My response is my responsibility now.